Liverpool have won a record 9th Carabao Cup title after a thrilling final against Chelsea at Wembley on Sunday. As you saw, Chelsea goalkeeper Kepa Arrizabalaga missed the 22nd spot kick to hand Liverpool victory 11-10 on penalties. Arrizabalaga replaced Edward Mendy in the final moments of extra time. It was an absorbing 120 minutes of football with 4 goals ruled out for offside. It then came down to the goalkeepers, and Liverpool's Kelleher put his kick away to put Liverpool in front before Kepa missed for Chelsea. The Liverpool boss Jurgen Klopp heaped praises on Kelleher, saying he is the best number 2 in the world. Well, Simon, he's still with us. Simon, what a match. All I keep hearing in my head is, and the flag is up.
Yeah. Incredible to have 4 goals disallowed for offside. Really was. But it was such a good game that they almost felt like they were goals. You know, even though they were disallowed, there was so much action in that match, so much going on, so little to choose between the teams that, 11 penalties each to separate them. It really was extraordinary. A pity those goals didn't stand, and you get that even more excitement. But a real thrilling final.
Definitely thrilling. I was saying, I was tweeting that, this match had everything. And then one of my producers commented and said to me, everything but goals, Mariah, because everything was happening minus the goals. Yeah. And but so many chances being created as well. Both teams were really attacking and going for it. It's exactly what you want. Sometimes finals can be cagey affairs, can't they? And it wasn't like that at all. Yeah, and let's spend some time on Kepa, because a lot of people blaming the youngster for losing the match. But what do you think about that decision by Tuchel to even bring in Kepa after we know Edward Mendy had a good match?
Yeah, more than a good match, didn't he? That double save he made from Mane, I think it was, wasn't he? Where he made the save, pushed the ball out, and then gets back up, and the ball looks like it's a certain goal, and he gets up and scrambles to make a second save as well. Would Mendy not have saved one of 11 penalties? You would think a goalkeeper of Mendy's quality, who's had such an outstanding season, winning lots of awards, getting in lots of teams of the year, and so on and so forth, you'd think it was a brave decision to do it, and it didn't work, did it? It backfired, really. You can't blame Kepa for a goalkeeper missing a penalty. It does become a little bit of a lottery when it gets down to goalkeepers shooting. That's not their job. But it was an odd decision, really. And, of course, a few years before, it was the other way around, where when Maurizio Sarri was the boss, went to take off Kepa for the penalty stage of the game, and he wouldn't come off. So that was added into the mix as well, that memory. So strange decision, really, and it didn't work. And I think putting somebody in cold, we saw this with Gareth Southgate as well at the Euros with England, didn't we, when he brought on Marcus Rashford and I think Jadon Sancho as well for the penalty shootout phase. I think you're tempting fate when you start bringing on substitutes just for penalty shootouts. It never seems to quite work out.
Yeah, never works out. And, speaking about those goals that were disallowed, the Lukaku goal, really, really controversial. Was that goal offside, Simon?
Yeah, it's a tough one, isn't it? I mean, there's so many different things people can look at for these, but it did seem a harsh one. It did seem a harsh one.
Simon, what I'm trying to understand here, because VAR is scientific, right? It's not opinion-based, especially in terms of offside, right? They are looking at the monitors and they judge it as how they see it, and the line is drawn. There should be no speculation. So why is it controversial?
Yeah, because it's not a precise science, though, is it? Because you're freezing the frame at the time that the ball is being released from the foot of the passer. So then, but is it really then? I mean, you look at that picture and you say, he's not offside. So what's the angle of the picture we're looking at? Which one are they getting at? They bring out the lines. It's so close that I really wish sometimes they would give the benefit of the doubt to the attackers.
But haven't they changed the rules to do just that, though?
Yeah, well, they're looking at the whole offside rule as a whole. I mean, And people forget this. IFAB, who make the rules, the International Football Association Board, which includes FIFA, are looking at the offside rule as a whole, and the impact VAR has had on it, and also what is the point of the offside rule? Like, is it really doing what it's set up to do? So, is he gaining an advantage there? Well, if he's in front of him, yes, he is. But if it's a fraction of a millimetre, it's very difficult. And it is imprecise. This is the point, I think, with VAR. That moment that the ball's released from the foot, did you get that moment freeze the frame at exactly that moment? And when is that moment? When it comes away from the boot, exactly? There's so many factors that when it's that close, we look at the millimetre, but we don't look at the other end of it. So it's very difficult. And I don't know how the automatic VAR for offside that's being trialled now is going to approach this. Certainly there won't be any criticism of officials, because it will make an instant decision based on a measurement. But I think that we do have to wait for this review of the offside law, because I think it's a good idea to look at the whole thing and say, well, why do we have this law, and what's its purpose, and is it working in its current format?
Well, here's another controversial bit that took place in the match, and we're talking about Van Dijk. Him being involved in the play in an outside position, it appeared that he would have impeded a defender as Matip scored. What were your thoughts on that? Because that's a little bit more open to interpretation, if you will.
It is, because it comes into the whole question of, is he interfering with play? And I think he was. I mean, he doesn't touch the ball, but he takes out a defender out of the situation, really, and stops somebody from being able to challenge from the ball. I always think if you're in the penalty area, it's a free kick or a corner, how can you not be interfering with play, really? So I think that one was right. I think that the judgment they had to make was he interfering? Was there some movements he made that influenced that goal, at least in some way? And I think there were.
Here's the irony, though, because if he was in an onside position, you don't think the foul would have been called, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's another one, isn't it? I mean, there's so many of these now with VAR where we scrutinise them, down and down, and look back and say, well, is there, what else has happened here? Was there something else? Hold on a minute, what are they looking at here, and so on? And I've never been a fan of it. It does help, improve the efficiency of decisions and the quality of decisions overall. I don't think there's any doubt about that. But I don't like it. I don't like the fact that so many of the times we have these goals, and then they're like provisional goals. We have to wait and see, and fans are like, they celebrate and then they sort of only half celebrate because they've got to wait and see. And there's that horrible sinking feeling when you're supporting your team and you're in a ground, and then you see that they're going to check it on VAR, which they do after nearly every goal these days. This horrible sinking feeling that maybe that celebration was in vain. Yeah.
Simon, it's been a pleasure as always. Thanks for your time.
All right, all the best. Cheers.
It's probably the most exciting 0-0 draw I saw, and it went on for 120 minutes before it was decided on penalty. You watched the game. How did you feel?
It was so enjoyable for me. Like, Donald, it had... Okay, so every time they said, and the flag is up, that's all I kept hearing, and I felt like, okay, this will be a goal. This is it. And I felt like, as Simon said, it had everything in it. It was, a memorable one. But at the end of the day, it will go down as Liverpool being winners. And Kelleher will go down as a hero because, stepping in, it just shows the depth of Liverpool and the fact that they have so many other players to just step in when their main player can't do it.
Yeah, really a good football game and a really good advert for the Carabao Cup as well. So the competition still very much alive. Still to come, though, on the SportsMax zone. We're talking about Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang on the score sheet again as Barcelona win again and move 1 point away from the top three in the league. And, of course, in our NBA segment, we ask, are the Philadelphia 76ers title contenders again? This after Joel Embiid and James Harden produced impressive efforts in a dominant performance over the Knicks. But yeah, it's just the Knicks, right? Take a break. Back with more.